This meeting is being recorded.
Welcome to the Roundtable for Restoration Rebels on May the 14th. I cannot believe it's already May. The kids told me today they have 4 weeks left of school. And now that I work at home, I have to put up with them all summer. So I'm looking for an office right now. We get together once a week and we have a roundtable. We have 14 people in the room right now. I think a lot of people are in sports right now. A lot of kids are still playing ball, and a lot of people are still working on the West Coast. Like Parker was here a few minutes ago. We used to have 40 or 50 people on these calls. And I've questioned many times if it's not time to change the format. So I don't know what that would look like, because I know some of the familiar faces here look forward to it weekly. But in the next few weeks or months, I would like to see us changing it up, and I would like to incorporate the chapters that are getting developed, and maybe the chapters come in and share what they're working on, because there's some really, really incredible stuff that they're doing, and I'll go into more of that next week. Friday, Dawn, I'm going to be up in Maryland with you and a bunch of Maryland Rebels on Friday. And then on Tuesday, out in Seattle with Kristen, whoop, whoop, and Blaine and a whole bunch of other people. I think Jared Topenberg is going to be there. I hope – did you get all of Rick McCarthy? Was he able to make it down? Do you know him? You may not know Rick. Hold on a second. Hold on, Kristen. We're having a mute war here. You keep pushing it, and I'm pushing it. You push it. I'm done.
I win. Yes, I know him, and I am going to talk to him tomorrow.
Yeah, I'd like to get to know him, and I think he'd be a good addition.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a travel day, and then we're starting one in Ohio. So that'll give us 6 chapters, and then we're going to kind of let that marinate and simmer, and we want to work out some of the nuances. We want to kind of identify what we should be doing, what we shouldn't. Chris Jeter, who's not on the call tonight, I think he had something to do. Somebody's trying to get in the room here. Chris Jeter has agreed to take on the role of the chapter administrator. Hey, Frank, how are you? I'll get to you in just a second. I'd like to introduce yourself. The administrator of the chapters is not going to be the overall end-all head of all the chapters. I want to make each individual chapter manage itself. I just needed an admin to help with some of the administrative side of things and keep up with who's in, who's not, maybe some support from whenever there's some funds that are needed for an event that they're going to put on or something like that. So Chris and I sat last week and wrote down a very general outline of what the structure of a chapter looks like. Chris sits on the board of the SCRT, which is Society for Cleaning and Restoration Technicians. It's a very old group. It's been around a long time. And it's very much president, vice president, secretary. Someone keeps the minutes. It really feels like a B&I meeting. They follow, there's up to the, okay, it's 14 minutes after the hour. Now we have to change gears. I don't think it's going to go that way. I think these meetings, while they need to be managed a little bit, we're going to get into some topics in some of them, and some people are going to have some examples of things that are going to take a little longer. So we'll talk about that, but we're going to kind of let them go as they are while we're still focusing on the mission and vision. And I'm going to have a lot of examples of what that's going to look like next week with everybody. But in the future, I think these roundtables, we start letting a chapter come aboard, or even a delegate from each chapter saying, hey, I'd like to talk about what we achieved, what we're seeing successes with, and what we're trying to pull off in the next month or two. And I think what it'll do is it'll drive future chapters and current chapters to say, that's a brilliant idea. I wanted to tell a story right quick, and then I want to skip back over to Frank. I'm not going to be the one to run the whole meeting tonight, because I want to really want to let everybody I'm looking at the chat here. I really want to let everybody have a chance to talk. But so my big screen TV went out in our living room a little while ago. It's an old one. It probably weighs, golly, 150, 200 pounds. So that tells you how old of a TV is, because they don't weigh that much anymore, do they, Brian? TVs don't weigh, I mean, those plasmas or whatever. But this TV was heavy. Anyway, it went out. It's pretty expensive. I'm not really ready to, I think it's a minor thing. So I looked on Google for a service repair place that can come out here. I'm busy. I don't have time to take it. So this is how I shop. This is how our customers shop. And this is a story about an example about putting ourselves in our customers' shoes. I don't want to lug a 150-pound TV or 200-pound TV that's 65 inches wide into town, drop it off just to be told we don't work on that. So I wanted to find someone that would come out here for a service charge, diagnose it, and whatnot. Well, it was after 5 o'clock when I was looking, and everybody was closed. But I started reading what? Reviews. I looked at 4 companies that were listed on my map view, and one of them had 50, and they were like a 4.8, and everybody else had 3 to 7. So I went with the 50. So right now I'm going to tell you, if you don't have reviews and people are shopping you, even though you have emergency services, maybe it's a mold job, maybe it's a who knows, something that they don't think is urgent, and they're not calling their insurance company, they're calling you. They're going to shop by rating. I'm not saying everyone's like me, but I think the Amazon mindset has taken over. So I started reading the reviews. Again, I think there were 48 to 50-ish reviews. I didn't read them all. I read the first 20 or 30, which are the most current ones. Does anybody want to guess what the biggest and the most common thing that was mentioned, what they liked about this company was? What's most valuable to a customer? Does anybody want to take a stab at that? What do you think was mentioned the most?
Affordable.
What was it, Eric?
Affordable?
Affordable was in there a few times, but it was probably it's the last. No?
I will say if you get the call to finally show up, most of the contractors will not show up.
No, that was brought up once or twice. It was time. How fast they responded, how quickly they answered the phone, how quickly they got an answer and diagnosis of what they needed. I mean, it was just, and that, Raphael, probably ties a lot into your answer is time. Time was the word over and over again. They were fast. They were diligent. They text me and let me know they were on their way. They had a great little, one of them said we had the great little application that said, we're 20 minutes away and blah, blah, blah. But over and over and over, the top 15, they all said they were fast and on time. And they were right here in the beginning of when they said they would be here. So, I mean, I know we're in emergency services, but I would certainly say in our business, Raphael, like, are we showing up on time, or our techs showing up on time? Because I don't read a whole lot of reviews from restoration companies that say they were super fast to get here. Some are saying they were here pretty quickly, but it's usually the guys were clean, blah, blah, blah. But I learned a long time ago, the one thing that customers can't make more of is time. They can make more money. They can make more widgets. They can make more everything. But, man, their time is far more. They know they can go out tomorrow and make another $100, but their time is super, super thing. So I just thought that was a very interesting juxtaposition. But just that every one of their, like, this guy must have been super speedy. Now, he may have been on time because he's not very busy. He may have just been sitting by the phone like the Maytag man and just shown up anyway. But anybody want to talk about that? Has anybody had those kind of services with like a repairman, a plumber, HVAC, pest control, or anything like that? A bad experience?
Well, I think reviews are kind of can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I think reviews it's kind of the wave of the future. I hated them when I first started getting reviews, because my very first Yelp review was a 1-star review from a crazy client.
Mm-hmm.
And then Yelp, at the time, this was about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, at the time, they were implementing this algorithm that tried to catch fake reviews. And so what I did is I called a couple customers that I knew were happy, and I asked them politely to write me a review on Yelp, and so they did. And then what I was told was to respond to all of your reviews, whether good or bad. So I did. I actually only responded to the bad one, and the algorithm said the two good reviews were bad and deleted them, and then kept the bad reviews. So I had a really it took me a long time to kind of figure out, to kind of get back into the review game. But about I started SEO back up, and I've been getting SEO calls, and I had this one client, and I asked him, where did you find me? He said, on Google Maps. So why did you choose me? And he said, well, because you had better reviews than the other company. And so right then and there was proof in the pudding that there are people that they just look, and they'll make their choice on the review. And people who have been around for a very long time, especially if you guys have a healthy CRM, you can go back and ask your clients to review you. And I remember, Clark, we've discussed this. I remember you've talked about how what we're trying to do is get a 5-star, and we actually let the client know, hey, our goal is to get a 5-star review at the end of this process. And if at any time we fall below that 5 stars, please let me know right away, and so that we can figure out what's going on. So as much as reviews, and if you go on Amazon, if you spend any amount of time on Amazon looking at reviews at Amazon, you'll see that there's fake reviews all over the place. There's some products that have thousands and thousands of reviews, and if you go and you look at them, most of them are fake. But it's it is what it is. It's the wave of the future. I have another client that I'm working with right now. We're doing a rebuild, pretty extensive rebuild, and they found their water dryout guy on Yelp, and I actually came in and just did the reconstruct, but they found their water dryout guy on Yelp. It's going to be reviews are very important, and your snapshot of your company is going to be with reviews.
No, I agree with you, Eric. About the biggest thing that I look at reviews for most is restaurants. And there are some restaurants, and yes, there are a lot of fake ones. Man, Eric, I love that picture of you, man. That's just dreamy. Everybody look at Eric's profile picture.
Oh, stop it.
But I'll look at a restaurant, and there are 1,500 or 2,000 reviews. Now, let's just say 20% are fake. Maybe 30% are fake. I don't know. But there's still over 500 or 600 people that were compelled, after paying you to eat there, to tell everybody else how good they were. And I'm talking that's either on Google or Yelp. They're not lining up to do that for us. So I think that we are oftentimes, and I know we beat this horse to death, we're oftentimes worried about the wrong stuff. We're worried about the carrier, what we're going to get paid for, blah, blah, blah. And honestly, and hold your ears, Lindsay, we're so worried about documenting the claim and covering our butt and liability that we're forgetting about the one damn person that we're going to need to ask for a check for $3,000 to $8,000 to $10,000 or $25,000 from. Listen, start with that. I mean, that's it. I'm not going to get on the soapbox tonight. We need to do those other things, but they don't need to be – the customer needs to think that those are things you do when you don't have them in your sites. So, and that's the same with Krista. That's what to us with B2B. Our customers have to know that we're absolutely going to stop everything for them. But I wanted to tell you before we change the subject here, Eric, he's out by you. Robert Hidiat is, how do I say Robert's name with Blue Van? I think Eric's gone. He just got us looking into his eyes. We had a brand new 1 year in business, restoration guy. Hey, Eric, how do you say his last name? I hate to butcher people's names.
Yeah, you'll do a better job than me.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, he told me I was saying it wrong. It was not. It has a J in it, but the J is silent, like jalapeno. But anyway, 1 year in business, came from an IT support background, never done anything, was looking around at franchise broker shows, trying to figure out 7-Eleven, pest control, ended up on restoration. Then he went independent. He didn't even go franchise. 1 year in business out of Lake Arrowhead, California. 28 or 29 5-star reviews. And this is from a guy that didn't know any different. And he just asked, I said, how did you get that many? I asked everyone if they would please give it to me because it was very important to my business. Now, I don't know that everybody else doesn't do that, but while we were sitting in Boulder, I pulled 3 other people that were in the proximity that I know had been in business a few years. And I said, can we pull up and look at your reviews, how many you've got? And he said, yeah, no problem. One guy had been in business for 9 years, and he had 5 or 6 reviews. You got a guy here with 1. When it comes down to what Eric's saying, and it's going to come down to reviews, programs shut off all the work. Lead generation companies Google decides they're not playing that game anymore. You're just going to use reviews only or reviews Google's vendors. Where are you going to be? So anyway, it's an interesting world. Like Eric said, Trey Raines was talking today. He got a very random, horrible review, said something about he hates women or his company doesn't like women. This lady was across the country, and he does work in Maryland, and he tried to get it shut down, and he's still working on it. And I hate to be calling him out, but it's a good example of someone made a post on his thing because he said, I don't know why this happened. And someone said, did you make a political post today, or were you on a political page and made some kind of polarizing remark maybe? And he said, it's very possible because I believe in what I believe in. Well, that's enough reason for someone to go and go crazy on you because you said something that they don't agree with. And that makes this whole social media thing very confusing. If you're using your personal account and you're also registered with your business and say it's ABC Restoration, you put yourself out there in a way to be targeted for that kind of stuff, and you don't even know it. So I think there's a whole class about social media reputation management that we don't understand half of it. And Eric, I'm push mute, man. You got some corn nuts over there you're opening up. So anyway, anybody have any comments about that? Anybody had any issues with somebody go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs over something they said on a different page? No. All right. Frank, you're up. Frank, why don't you tell us a little bit about you, man?
Can you hear me?
I can now. Tell us a little bit about you.
So, kind of new to the business. Just love the industry, man. It's a cool little adventure. I'm 28 years old. Took over a carpet cleaning company from my father-in-law. I was an over-road truck driver, and wanted to get off the road when I got married. So went into the family business, I guess. And we've just it was just a carpet cleaning company, and we did a little bit of mitigation here and there, but never really jumped into it, dived into it deeper. My father-in-law got a WRT class way back when, probably 15, 20 years ago, and so I was like, man, let me just go. Let me go take the cert. So I went up and Barry Costa, he served me, and it's just I just like it. I got really into it, and I'm like, man, let me reach out to a couple people and join some groups, listen to some podcasts. Hence how I've landed on this page.
You heard one of Andy's podcasts?
Yeah. So thank you first of all to everybody who's been I know I message a lot of people, and I just want to say I am appreciative for the feedback that everybody gives. I read a lot of the posts on here, so yeah, thanks everybody. It's a circle like this that keeps an industry growing, and I've met couple of my local competitors through here. So, and now we grab coffee together and won't bid against each other. So it's pretty cool, man. I love it. So like I said, I'm 28. I'm new to the game. My feet just getting wet with a 33-mile radius, and I'm just trying to learn it all, just one step at a time.
What part of the country are you in, Frank? Where's home?
I heard you mention Maryland a couple of times, so I'm in northern Maryland, Harford County, by the Pennsylvania line.
Okay. Is that up near Gaithersburg or north of there?
It's
More
kind
like
of
Hagerstown.
like Harford County. You know that kind of like Elkton, Elkridge. Yeah, Elkton.
Oh, okay.
Is there a big fire school there?
I have no clue. Like Edgewood, maybe you've heard of Edgewood.
I think I know where you're talking about. Dawn Nagoff is she's in Bel Air, no, Westminster. So she's up your direction a little bit. You know, I know northern.
So I live 5 minutes from Bel Air. So
okay.
Yeah, he's near David Chamorro.
David Chmura, yeah.
Yep.
Have you met David yet, Frank?
No, like I said, I've just kind of been getting my feet wet, man.
Well, we're going to shoot you an invite to our get together on Friday. I don't know if you can get away or not, but we're going to be in where we're going to be at, Glen Burnie.
Yeah, Glen Burnie, Pasadena area.
All right, shoot me an invite. I'll definitely come. I shouldn't have anything to do.
Well, we'll send you an invite and let you know where we're going to be. But I like that you're already meeting people up there because I think it's pretty important. People ask me all the time, what's with these chapters? Oh, hold on. There's a couple people wanting to get in here. Uh-oh. Jeremy Newman wants to get in. Should we let him in? Okay. Everybody Okay, Jeremy's here, so we're all going to go now. Sorry. You gotta go. And Dean. Hello, Dean. So, Frank, people have been asking us, what's with the chapters? Why do I want to be, it's not everyone, but why do I want to open up to all my competitors? And I was telling the guy, everybody in this room except for Chris Lowelke, because he lives in the Boy Scouts of America quadrant, we all have people that we say they do terrible work. I mean, that's like, I don't want to be seen anywhere near that guy. So he's obviously the reason that you want to be in a chapter. And by that, I mean, first ask the question, does he not know any better? Is he doing what he was taught? Did he work for his parents? Did he work for did he work for some slave driver that was really cheap, that didn't pay him anything, and that's all he knows? Is there an opportunity there for that guy to get a little better? Maybe. But maybe not. Maybe he's always the guy that's just like, screw everybody. I'm going to make my money. I'm going to make that bling bling, get out of here. Well, I bet you there's 4 or 5 others that say, I don't want to be like that guy, and I want separation, and I can't just say it. And so I will tell you this. If you have an adjuster, an agent in your market, and Kristen can probably account for this. Kristen was an agent for a long time. Generally, we all are only as strong as our weakest link. If there's a couple of really, really bad operators in your market, it doesn't take long for everybody's, well, I don't know who I'm going to get because they all seem to be like that guy. So if you start separating yourself, show up. Mark Treader, his guys have badges on their shirt that says we're part of an alliance. We're part of something bigger that has standards, education, accountability. We're not afraid to say it and show it and badge it. Well, all of a sudden, the customer's going to be like, wow, you're kind of involved with something that's bigger than yourself. And the other guys that suck, they're not doing that. They're not showing up at chapter meetings. They're not, unless they're invited and dragged in kicking and screaming. So I think those are some good opportunities. But I'm also trying to get restoration registered as a trade in this country. A registered trade like a plumber or an HVAC or a pipe fitter or a pipe or something like that. I think that we do good enough work and we have enough acumen and we handle people's health. And I see Dean shaking his head there. If we start recognizing that we are more than just water suckers and that we're just guys that throw up old containment, that we're actually There's some science to it. There's some standards. People's lives and health or anything. I want to start bringing that to the forefront. And I don't know how to do it. Dean, I'm going to let you have it. Go ahead.
That's an awesome idea, because I think what people don't realize, if you don't stop and do the math about what we all do, take a moment when this thing is done and list all of the things that you know how to do when we get onto a job. Sometimes whether we're doing things legit, sometimes we do plumbing things and we shouldn't be, sometimes we do electrical, I get that. But think about all the different specialties that we do or we know how to do, and yet, you know, they want to pay us $38 an hour and Xactimate, and I got plumbers charging me $90 for what they do, and we know 10 times more than the plumber does. So that's awesome. That's long overdue.
Yeah, and Mike Rowe is somebody that I follow a whole lot. Mike Rowe has a thing called Micro Works, and I think y'all have heard me tell the story. We tried to get him to speak at our summit, but it just was we were too late scheduling. He was already booked. But he told John, get yourself registered on Micro Works as an official trade, and he does those work ethic scholarships, and he has money. He goes, I have a hard time getting rid of money, $5 or $7 million a year on average. He can't get people to go to a trade school to do this stuff. So if we include the IICRC and go to Chuck DeWald or REITs or Winter Circle or Normie or whatever, or any Aramco operation, we are to start collaborating with these schools and start pushing the validity of what we think. Stop letting other people tell us what this industry is worth. If we start telling them what we think it's worth, I think it gets better and better and better. So, and I mean, that's a lofty task. And the only way it works is a whole lot of voices and multi-states, multi-regions, maybe getting a hold of some congressmen, maybe, you know, they're all trying to get elected and they're trying to get jobs created, blah, blah, blah. Get some of them behind some trade stuff, and we try to ride on a coattail and surf right on in there. But I'm in for it. Hey, Lori. Hi, Lori. And
Sorry, I was late.
it's okay. We will not penalize you.
Yay.
Jeremy Newman? Bueller? No? Well, Dean, we're gonna.
There I am.
Oh, hey, what's up, man?
What's up, man? Driving down the highway.
Congratulations on your land purchase.
Could have done it without you guys. Not even lying.
Appreciate it, man. Well, all right, we got a few people coming in here. I've got a new person here named Alan Tarkashov. Alan, can you hear us? Hello, Alan? No? Let's see, Alan, if you're listening, you want to come back on, just come back and tell us who you are. Here's Anthony Ezel, excuse me. What else does anybody want to talk about? What's been going on in, the weather hasn't been conducive of some crazy amounts of work. Are we kind of slow overall in the industry right now? Are we kind of slow? Are we kind of busy?
It's been nothing but rain here in New York. It's been raining for days and days and days and days and days.
What does that do for you, though, Lori? So does that flooded basements and sump pump failures that have limits, or does that rain actually bring you roofing issues and stuff? What does that look like for you?
Not a whole bunch of roofing issues, but flooded basements and stuff like that. We don't see a ton of roofing failures, but it's flooded basements, and there are caps on it. Anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 usually is the highest for the caps.
Yeah. And so that limits what you can do down there, really, right? So you can't do a full-blown, remediation. You can, but you just got to know it's only a little bit.
Right, exactly.
What about you, Dean? Dean, have you been?
The school lost today, though.
You what?
We signed a fire at a school today. Huge job.
Well, how'd you get that? How'd you get that lead, if I can ask?
Well, we do a whole bunch of work for another school district, and he has connections with this other school, and he gave them our name. So we're referred by a repeat customer.
Relationships, right? So here, I'm going to flip it over, Frank. I'm going to put it on you yet. Have you gone out and done any marketing to any school districts or any nursing homes or hotels and tried to drum up some business and relationships with those folks?
No, I haven't. The reason why I haven't is because I don't feel like I'm ready to scale that big or even take on a job. I just don't. I don't want to be put in the water to sink.
Yeah.
I want to go in confident, and I haven't done an ASD class or anything like that. Like I said, I've learned what I've learned in WRT.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't.
Well, that's so a couple things. So there are some times where those losses are actually small, but they're commercial and they generally pay you quickly because they're self-insured to a certain degree. But there's another benefit of a chapter. If you have 3 or 4 colleagues that you know and trust, and y'all come up with an agreement, and y'all can tackle a job together. Everyone handles a different segmented piece of it, and then you get the experience of learning while maybe someone's a little bit bigger. We mentioned David Shmura. He does a lot of commercial work. Well, he may say, you know what, next large job I get, why don't you come aboard? I'll use up your equipment because it's probably going to be more than I've got, and I don't want to rent some more. Get you some experience and stuff. So those are the kinds of things I would like to see groups, the chapters collaborate on. Yep. Lindsay says education during slow time. Yeah. Lindsay and I were talking about that. Is when do the fire departments train is when there's no fires. We aren't so good at that. We often send the guys home because we're watching payroll. But again, as Dean said, if we weren't having to pay our guys low dollars and we were making better margins so that we could train, we wouldn't feel bad about our profit margins because we need profits to build the company to be ready for the kinds of losses that we think we can handle. So it's just a hamster wheel. I mean, I can justify profits all day long. The right equipment, the right training, trucks that run, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, you could also always have an agreement with them when they get started and say, listen, when times get slow, we're not going to be able to pay you the $20 an hour that we pay you, but during that time, we'll agree to keep you on at $12 an hour, and you're going to get education.
Sure. I love it.
You're going to clean up the shop. You're going to clean the equipment. You're going to make sure that everything's running right and correctly, and get some education and get your certification so that when that time comes, instead of just being, a general labor technician, you can be a skilled labor technician.
I love it. No, absolutely. I think I was telling a story here. Jim Bauer out of Dallas, Texas with Pure Clean. He gets a lot of the Pure Cleans when they're slow, and he used to be in the home builder industry. And he goes out, and I think Brian would like this. He goes out to half-built homes while they're opened up. They don't flood the houses, but they talk about structural drying so these technicians can see that have never seen a house before it was built, see where the water goes and see what it looks like prefab, so they can say, this is what you need to be looking for. These are channels and different substrates, and this is blah, blah, blah. So he says, that's what we do when we're slow. And he goes, not only do we get better for it, but he goes, the team really feels like that's like super, super valuable time that they spent. I got a few comments here. Dwayne Lambert, do you have a microphone?
Yeah, I do.
What you had a question here, air engagement. Did I say something wrong, or what does that mean?
No. It's just we've got this air platform over here, and it's just doesn't seem like there's a whole lot to be right.
Yeah. And yeah, you're right. Tell us about that, Dwayne. Tell us what you'd like to see that look like.
Kind of see what I'm seeing right now.
So what he's saying, guys, is gals, we have the Alliance of Independent Restorers that we have been building an ecosystem that's away from Facebook. Our troubles on Facebook have grown and grown and grown. Lindsay texted me tonight. Are we having a roundtable? And so did Brian. I posted 6 times the link in different places in different ways in the group, and still people can't find it and don't see it. So let me go here for a minute. Frank, just think of how you might be missing an incredible piece of information, or someone says, is there anybody in Northern Maryland can go handle a water damage at my grandmother's house? You never see it because Facebook suppresses everything. So we have built this alliance of independent restorers, and besides everything else, it's trying to be a place where we unify and all have one voice, one vision that's not on Facebook on Zuckerberg's terms. But it does have a chat, a big major general feed chat feature. A lot of the same people. I don't know right now, Dwayne, do we have about 100 and we might be 130 people over there right now?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and so I get asked every day, what do I get for going over there? Look, honestly, I tell you to say the same thing. It's not about what you get. It's it's what do you give? What is it? It's not always about what am I going to get in return. I'd say come try it. If you don't like it, leave. It's not a contract. You don't have to lock it down. But it will get better with a lot of people. We're going to have a lot of features, but we want to be associated with those that are like us. So, but Facebook is easy. And that, Dwayne, that's a lot of what it is Facebook. People are already there for something else. They got their kids' soccer. They're looking at the cute kittens, and they ended up finding themselves over there because they can drop in a quick thing. So I think it's just going to be a matter of time, Dwayne. We just got to keep plugging away at it. I invited in some of our educational affiliates today, and so they'll start showing up and putting some more content in there from Violand and Instascope. Dean, I got Instascope their login today. Start moving there forward. They're going to start putting up some videos of what that machine does and exactly what that is. So if you're not sure what AIR is, get a hold of someone in the group that, it's one of the moderators. Mostly all the mods are members, or just ask me and I'll put you in touch with someone. But I really do think it's just going to continue to grow and grow and grow. And honestly, I think the best things that we're going to do, we haven't seen yet, because I think the best opportunities will present themselves, like making the technician, restoration technician or restoration workers a trade in this industry. So that's going to take more than 40 people. It's going to take more than 110 people. It's going to take a lot of people with power and a lot of people with voices and examples, and with taxpayers, people to pay taxes to people. So I look forward to that. I'm reading the comments over here. Having problems with microphone. Okay, David Sweet could not talk tonight. He said he had a microphone problem. Kristen says at Premier we get a ton of business from Yelp and Google. We pay our techs $25 each. Their name is mentioned in the review to encourage them to ask for the review and earn the 5 stars. Yep, that works very good. Listen, if that means your next call, $25 will be the cheapest that you ever paid for a lead, right? Yep. Coffee cards also from Lindsay. All right, Lindsay, what's a coffee card? Yeah, I can hear you.
Tell somebody if they give you a rating on Google that you'll mail them.
Yep, lost you, Lindsay. You must be in the pool.
Starbucks coffee.
You must be in the. You must be in the pool.
Nope, not me.
Okay, yeah. So you're being like a Starbucks or a Dunkin' Donuts card or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. John May, sorry can't go live, but we're busy in Georgia. 16 active jobs this week. Oh, he's just bragging now. John May's over here bragging. Where you at, John? Jim Thompson, I don't believe in slow times in the restoration industry. Someone else is busy if you're slow. If the phone is not ringing, then not enough calls are going out. There you go. Make the phone ring. Go out and find an opportunity, right? Alan Tarkachev. I hate messing people's name up. It took me forever to get Chris Lowelke's name right.
Clark, it's Tarkachev. Thank you very much for posting 6 times. I was able to jump in here because of that.
Perfect. Tell us about you, Alan.
I'm actually I'm in the middle of something with my business partner. I'm just listening in. I'll try to pitch in next time, but I really do appreciate all the feedback, guys.
You got it, man. Thanks, buddy. Look, we're running up on our time. Who's got some free range stuff? I'm gonna go be with the family a little bit in about 5 minutes. But who's got
I
some?
just want to say that I got to see the Matterport camera in action today at the school that we're working on. I was super excited. It is freaking amazing. It's amazing. I'm like, I have to get one. It was awesome. The guy showed me the pictures that he was taking. He had already done the entire basement. And he was like halfway done with the first floor. It was freaking awesome. I'm super excited that I actually got to see it.
Who was taking the pictures? It wasn't your guys. It was somebody else.
Yeah, it was the adjuster had a guy come in with a Matterport because they're calling in a consultant to like basically come in and come up with fair numbers for us and for the insurance company so that we're all on the same page basically. And it's going to save us a shit ton of time because he went in there with a Matterport and they're basically going to bang off an estimate and we're going to come to agreed numbers and it's going to happen in like a week and we're going to get paid directly like quickly. So everything's coming out really good.
I love it. I mean, Matterport is going to become very standard, much like the infrared camera is now. So it started out expensive. It's coming down. This is a commercial, but we have a promo code for air off of money off of a Matterport. But if you have 2 or 3 other contractors in the area, split it, share it, because you're not all generally not using it at the same time. But I do know people that once they got it, they put it on every single loss, so they are using it 2 or 3 times a day. Dean, do you use a Matterport?
No, but I'm really looking at adding it into what we're doing. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think they've got some. I don't remember what it was, but they've got some new. They've got their next version of like technology that they're going to add to it. Now I've heard the story of maybe having infrared capability in the Matterport.
Yeah, I already gave them my shopping list of what I wanted them to add.
Well, that would be pretty cool if you could transition back to infrared and not. That would be pretty cool. But I think it's going to be. Go ahead.
We're using it on every loss twice. Before and after.
Before and after.
Yes.
I've heard that. I've heard people.
One for quality control. One for quality control. One for your document.
Are you finding, Sean, that I know it takes about an hour to do a house, right?
Something like that. 45 minutes.
It's not too big of a deal.
You don't need to do sketch anymore.
Right.
No.
You're using it for the sketch for the underlay, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what the guy told me today is that he can do a whole house in 45 minutes or less with a Matterport.
Yeah. Maybe I want one.
Save a lot of.
I don't need one. I don't need one, but maybe I want one. Can I hook it up to my drone? Is that technology out yet?
It's great for family pictures.
Here's the thing: you can buy them cheap from real estate because the real estate is going away from them. Real estate, we used to do a floor plan, then back to videos because it sells. Do like production. I had a guy I talked to. He had it for a couple of years. He used it once.
Brian, the wife of Brian has a comment. Brian, what's your input on that?
All right. Because of the cost for some of us, because those machines we don't necessarily know how to use it, is to connect with a Matterport user group in your community or nearby community. They'll come out and take care of it for you as well.
Okay. Yeah, I heard about, if you go to some real estate people that are, they'll do a whole house scan for $200 or $250. But if you do that 10 times, you're not too far away from buying a unit at that point, right? Especially if you're doing it pre and post like Sean. I can see where that would be valuable if you're doing it every once in a while. But I've heard it's great on contents jobs. If you got a lot of contents, pre-existing conditions of things, and how things were when they found them. So probably find a million good excuses for it. I know what gets asked all the time, and we don't have time to go into it. Can you charge for it? I know a lot of people ask that question. And Brian, you can charge for it? Documentation? Yeah. Labor hours and stuff like that, or what? Yeah. Cool. Well, look, I'm going to be selfish with my time tonight. I'm not going to stay on too much longer. I'm going to let Dean have the last word, and then we're going to.
I was just waving goodbye.
Oh, you waving goodbye? Well, I look forward. Looks like Dawn has left the building. I was going to say bye to Dawn. I'll see her later this week. Kristen, I'll see you next week, and I'll be in Ohio on Thursday, and then I'm home until mid or late June. Then I'll be going to Viola and Executive. I'm just done. I'm working on air. I'm working on my business. I'm working on the kids getting out of school and shipping them off to camp and all that kind of stuff. So,
Excuse me, Clark. This is Alan here.
Yes, sir.
I'm new to the group. If you can please share with me where I can go and get some more information about this, I'm very interested.
Are you talking about the air thing, the Alliance?
I'm not even sure. I just accidentally joined this this live call, and
Okay.
you know what I mean. You guys triggered my attention.
Okay, Alan, I'll reach out to you with a little bit of information after the call. It might actually be in the morning. I'm going to actually go down with the kids a little while, but I'll shoot. What part of the country are you in?
We're at the East Coast.
But that's a big area. What part?
New York.
New York City.
New York City.
The Apple. Okay. Yeah, I'll get you some information. We got a lot of rebels up there, and I know y'all have a real difficult area to. Not a whole lot of friendly people up there, but
I'm friendly.
No, you're not in the city though, Lori.
No, I'm not.
You're not in the boroughs.
I'm not.
No, but you know what? Having said that, and Sean is very close, there's a lot of people that are trying to clean it up and do something better. So, Alan, I wrote your name down here, and I'll certainly reach out to you and Frank as well. Frank, I'll get you some information.
Thank you, sir.
I'm very glad you actually fell in here. Yeah, so Jim, we're going to talk about I think Jim wanted to have the last word. Jim Thompson?
Hi, I'm on the IICRC Standards Committee and the Vice Chair of the Safety and Health Committee Forum. Our meetings are at the same time every other week. So you might hear from me every other week.
Yeah, we were that way for a while, and then I forgot why. It just kind of, it's just, you talking about this meeting is every other, you have the same meeting on every other Tuesday yourself, Jim?
That's what it is I'm on the IICRC Standards Committee, and we have a meeting every other week at about the same time, an international conference call.
Okay. Well, we'll look at making some arrangements for that. And Jim, right quick, tell us.
Thank you.
Jim, we promote education crazy. Tell us about the class that you teach, and I think Lindsay was going to get something put together for the group, but tell us the uniqueness of the class that you teach.
The longest time there is on a large loss, and admittedly I know nothing about houses. I did one house in 20 years and it wasn't my fault. The longest time there is after you sign the contract and you get the tubes hard, when you get the deskins going, the big stuff really working. And the challenge that my buddies at Sunbelt and other restoration rental companies have is when a cat happens, there is tremendous jams with the curfews and all, like we had in North Carolina, Florida, etc. Sometimes it takes them 3, 4, 5 days to hook up the equipment. Have you ever run into that?
I have.
Yeah. Boom. Sunbelt has an ability to get through the lines to Barney Fife and his bullet at midnight, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And if they can drop equipment by a truck driver, and individual restoration companies are trained how to safely hook up three-phase generators, deskins, power grids, and know what they're doing, they can have equipment set up the first morning, as opposed to waiting 3, 4, 5 days for Sunbelt's technicians or whoever to come over and put the stuff up. And that's a very long time once you've signed a contract saying, I can't get this stuff turned on for 3 days. It's tough. So what Sunbelt and I came up with was a hands-on workshop. We've got one this year, June 11th to 13th in Orlando. And it's 3 days with Sunbelt corporate trainers and myself, how to hook up three-phase generators to deskins, power grids, etc. We call it the large load specialist class. No one else in our industry is making you go out to the voltage meter and turn on a 200 kW generator and actually hook the stuff up. They'll show you pictures, but they won't have you actually do it.
Yeah.
And it's been sold out almost every time we do it. We do once, twice a year. We got one coming up June 11th to 13th. I'll give your guys a special price if you want. I know we're not supposed to promote, but you asked me. So
yeah, no,
it's a good class. And a lot of Service Master Extreme teams, Service Master SRMs, Servpro Extreme teams and other guys show up. And they learn how to safely turn on generators, deskins, power grids, aerial work platforms, the big boy stuff. It's out in the yard. They're spending the whole time almost out there in the equipment yard hooking the stuff up. So give me a call.
Yeah, Lindsay, if you can get something put together, I gave Lindsay approval to drop something in the group, because anything education based that helps our ranks here more profitable, scale their jobs, the ability to do something they didn't know how to do before. It's all education that equals success. And what did you say? Kick Belfour in the cojones, right?
Well, Belport just was taken over. Their credit rating has gone down by Standards & Poor's to a B. They've been taken over by a private equity group. So my job's done with that. Now I'm having an awful lot of training restoration guys how to handle larger losses and watching their knees shake under the table when there's not enough zeros on it. And then they walk around like the biggest rooster in the hen house after they walk out. Oh, we did it. We kicked ass.
No, not this industry. Not this industry. Well, Jim, we look forward to it. We'll definitely promote that. I think that's, I don't think there's a lot of people in this group that are in that, but I think 8 to 10% are doing large law, so they will be in the next 1 to 2 years. And I think it's very important that they learn what that's like. So I appreciate you.
Real quick, I had a guy come last year that had only been in business 8 months. He didn't know anything. And went to the class. He calls me a couple months later, scared to death. He walked in on a job site. He said, I need to see your job site hazard analysis, company health and safety plan, safety data sheets. Here's mine. The manager said, that's the most professional I've seen anybody ever in 25 years. I'd like you to handle all 40 million square feet of our commercial property. He called me scared to death. What do? I put him together with Rogers, which is right down the street from him, 90 miles in Philadelphia. Jerry has 325,000 deskins. And said, why don't you come up with a deal that if this guy calls you, you roll everything you've got to the GE headquarters or whatever. And I told my friend there, just when you walk in the door, say, we'll get anything handled. If we need to bring in the big guns out of Philadelphia, they'll be here in 2 hours. And everybody wins. Jerry's going to be in this class himself.
Perfect. Well, let's get something up in the group so we can help you get the thing finished out, because I'm thinking we got a lot of people down there in Orlando. Lindsay told me a little bit about it yesterday, and anything I can do to help, I will. But hello, Shane O'Dager.
Thanks, Dash.
Thanks, Jim. We're about to wrap it up here. So, Shane, we're going to leave now that you got here.
That's all good. I also come in to say hello. Just listen.
Well, I'm glad you did, man. I always like your country western voice.
But I thought you had handlebar mustache going there for a second. I was about to clap. You should grow one. It'd look good on you.
Oh, thank you everyone for showing up tonight and being part of this. I'm going to put Dean and those of you that came in late, if you didn't already see it, I played it live on the Facebook feed, but we've got the recap from the Boulder Summit. And in 1 to 2 days, I'll have all of the individual lectures with all of the editing done and everything else like that. So I've been proofing them the last few days, kind of sending them back and forth. They look really good. I can't wait to release them because people are going to be like, awesome. So, and those that were there live probably listen to them again and probably pick up things that they missed the first time. So anyway, sayonara. Have a good one. Have a great week. We'll see you back here next week, same time, same people, same place.
Hey, Clark. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
See you, everyone.
Thank you.